Okay, let's see. I think I am live. It's like I'm live. Yay. Um, I was not gonna go live today. I wasn't planning on going live. I'm in my yoga clothing. But I was preparing for a live that I wanted to do tomorrow, and I got so excited about it that I thought I would just come up here impromptu and do it today. For those of you that know me, you know, even though I can be on a stage in front of hundreds of people, and even though I can be on Zooms, teaching, all the time, there's something about Facebook Lives where I get a little nervous. So I just thought, let me just go ahead, jump on, and do the live now. So today's live is all about 10 core reasons why you may be holding yourself back in your business, and how to overcome those reasons and how to take better action. I thought this would be a great topic to kick off 2022. I hope that you had a nice new year and that you're starting your year off in so many ways that you would like to. I know it's also a hard time for so many of us right now, too. And so, wherever you're at, I hope that you are being gentle with yourself. So, 10 core reasons why you are holding yourself back in your business and how to overcome them, how to take more action. To me, this topic is a game changer. It's so important. So, of course, we'll just start here. Any thriving and growing business, no matter what stage your business is in, any thriving and growing business needs a whole bunch of things in order to thrive and grow. But one of the primary things that it needs is clients, right? And not just any old clients, but a thriving and growing business needs clients who are, number one, aligned. And so when I say aligned clients, I mean these are the clients who are going to thrive in their work with you, in their programming, in your programming. These are the clients who are best suited to receive results in their work with you. Aligned clients are clients who you love working with, right? Your dream clients. So a thriving and growing business needs clients, and for those clients to be aligned, and for those clients to also pay aligned rates. And then the next kind of question is, okay, so where do these aligned clients who pay aligned rates that help your business thrive and grow come from? Well, they come from a number of places, and really from 4 places, if we were to kind of put it into buckets. And the first 3 of those 4 places are what I like to call the 3 R's. If you've been following me, you've probably heard me talk about the 3 R's. I talk about them all the time. Thriving and growing businesses that have clients, the clients come from, number 1, renewals, right? Clients that love you and re-sign with you over and over and over again because you've done amazing work together. The second R is referrals, right? When you are doing amazing work with clients, not only do they re-sign with you, but they tell their friends, and their friends tell their friends, and referrals come in. And then the third R is reputation, right? When you're doing that amazing work, your reputation grows. Of course, the 3 R's, in my experience, and in so many of my clients' experiences, those 3 R's, renewals, referrals, reputation, all coming from doing stellar client work, are the easiest way to bring in clients. Easiest by far, and the cheapest. But that being said, I've spoken a lot about the 3 R's in the past, and today I actually want to talk about the fourth place that aligned clients come from. And that's from marketing. From marketing. While the 3 R's, while renewals, referrals, reputation, all of which come from happy clients because you've done stellar work with them, while those 3 R's are at the heart of a thriving business, it's also true that you really can't have a thriving business without marketing. And not just any type of marketing, but marketing that is really effective and also really in integrity. So what does effective marketing even mean? Because knowing the rules of marketing, knowing how to create the latest and greatest ad funnel, knowing all about membership programs, knowing how to make the sale, knowing how to write copy, of course, all of that is great business and marketing information. But great business and marketing information actually isn't enough to make your marketing effective. The business and marketing information alone isn't going to cut it. It's not going to actually bring in the aligned clients. It's not actually going to activate prospects. It's not actually going to help you charge rates that feel good to you if you've got some other things going on. The marketing information alone isn't enough to bring in the clients. And this is where we get to how you might be holding yourself back in your business and in your marketing. I'm going to be going way deep into this in a moment, but for now, pop in the chat if you know what I mean, right? If this is stirring something inside of you. And if you're listening to the replay, pop it in the chat too, right? Maybe you've experienced this yourself, this idea that you've learned how to do the marketing, you've really learned it well, but the marketing is really only as good as your willingness to put it into action. Have you experienced that before? So let me take a step back for a moment and even just share what I mean by effective marketing, because there's effective marketing and there's ineffective marketing. So an example of effective marketing is actually outreaching to potential clients and inviting them in to have a conversation with you, taking that action, right? And doing it with poise and confidence and not awkwardly or apologetically. Another example of effective marketing, speaking about your work and the results that you co-create with your clients in eloquent ways, in ways where you're clear about what your work is and how amazing it is and how needed it is for aligned clients. Effective marketing also means taking actions to allow yourself and your work to be seen. Whether that's about posting about your work on social media, posting about what your work stands for, or whether that's about proudly sharing your ideas and your thought leadership in newsletter articles, or whether that's about reaching out to speak at events where your ideal client will be present. Here's another example of effective marketing. Actually stating your real rates on enrollment conversations instead of getting really scared in the middle of the conversation and then stating half of your rate because you just need the prospect to say yes, or you're scared to name your full rate. Another example of effective marketing is having the courage to ask clients for testimonials so that you have social proof of your work, right? And you can use that in your marketing. It's so important. or having the confidence to ask clients or people that you know for referrals and to share your work. Now, all of these different things that I'm mentioning, these ways of marketing effectively, they may sound easy, or maybe they don't sound so easy to you. But we all know that it sounds easier than it actually is. And as I said earlier, again, just because we have the information on how to write incredible copy or social media posts or whatever it is, it doesn't mean that we're actually going to do it or that we're going to do it well. We may intend on taking those actions. We may plan on taking those actions. We may even put it in our calendars or our schedules to take those actions. But it's an entirely other thing to then actually write the social media post or do the outreach or name the actual rate, and then to do it in a way where you show up fully for the outreach with confidence, right? Without the full presence and the full confidence, marketing either doesn't happen or it can fall flat. And just so you know, I share this with you not from a high horse or on a pedestal. I share this with you to normalize this experience for you because I have been there before. When I first started out in business, and even not just when I first started out, even years after I started out, I wouldn't show up fully and confidently for enrollment conversations or name half my rate or, not take the actions that I knew were needed to bring in the clients, right? I have been there myself. And all of that holding myself back, in a nutshell, it was simply because I didn't believe in myself. Right? So if this is happening for you, let me know. Let us know in the chat where maybe you're not showing up as well as you'd like for your marketing. Maybe it's some of those examples that I mentioned, or maybe some other places. How aren't you showing up in the ways that you'd like for your marketing? It's so great for us to look at this at the start of a new year, right? So that we can course correct and really show up for our business, for our marketing, for our future prospects and clients in the ways that we really want. So if you recognize that this is happening for you, right? That you're holding yourself back, I want you to be able to get to the bottom of this and to be able to move forward. And there are really two levels to be able to do this. And I want us to look at these two levels. The more that we can be aware of what's happening by way of our intentions, our motivations, our blocks, then the more choice we have around how to move forward, right? And take those actions that we want to take in our business. Okay, so there's two levels to this. The first is a kind of a surface level, but it's important nonetheless. And the first is really those 10 reasons, usually these core reasons of why we end up not marketing or not marketing well or not doing outreach or naming half our rates, etc. I'm going to name them and just let me know if any of these are at play for you. So sometimes we hold ourselves back from marketing and outreach if our clients aren't getting the results that they want, right? Because when clients don't get the results that they want, then it impacts our confidence usually as practitioners. We don't feel as good about our work when our clients don't get the results that we want. And then we might hold ourselves back from marketing or mess up the marketing or the sales conversations, whatever it is. Another reason why we may be holding ourselves back from doing outreach is because a client maybe went MIA. We were working with a client and then they just stopped showing up, and we don't know why they stopped showing up, right? That impacts our confidence, which again impacts our ability to market with full presence and with confidence. Maybe a client didn't give us a glowing review, or they didn't want to give us a testimonial, right? And then that impacted your confidence. And then all of a sudden you see you're not doing outreach, you're lowering your rates, whatever it is. Sometimes for some folks, when we work with clients and then they don't re-sign with us, or they don't send referrals our way, it can impact our confidence and therefore our ability to put ourselves out there and market more. Here's another reason. Sometimes it's because we're overworking to support our clients to co-create results. We're going overtime in our sessions. We're spending way too much time on client email. We're kind of like pulling clients along. And when we overwork and take that over responsibility, it can be exhausting, right? It can be draining. And even though we want to grow our businesses, we hold ourselves back from putting ourselves out there because we don't want more clients like that, or we don't want to be working that hard with each client. Sometimes we might hold ourselves back from marketing because we just don't feel that our clients are as invested in the work as we are. And that doesn't feel good, right? When we feel like we're more invested in our work with clients than they are. And that can really hold us back. Sometimes practitioners will hold themselves back from visibility, from marketing, from outreach, because maybe you feel like you're doing good client work, but when it comes to some of the tougher things, you feel like a deer in headlights. When those clients have those tougher fears, when the shadows come up, it just feels like you don't know what to do. You don't know how to lead them through. They're getting stuck, right? And then that makes you less inspired to put yourself out there. Sometimes you can feel less inspired to put yourself out there, to do the marketing and the visibility, if you've had a string of sales conversations that haven't gone well. People haven't bought, you're getting a lot of thanks but no thanks, or now isn't the right time, right? That can sometimes feel demoralizing. It can eat at confidence, and then you can hold yourself back from that. Or maybe you haven't yet worked with clients or even had enrollment conversations, but you're anticipating some of the things that I'm sharing, and that's holding you back from putting yourself out there, right? So when any of these things happen, it of course impacts our confidence in ourselves. And when our confidence is impacted, our marketing is usually impacted, right? How could it not? But the truth is that there's likely even a deeper core issue that's being activated for you when any of these things happen, right? Well, any of those reasons that I gave, clients not getting results, sales conversations not going well, etc. And that deeper core issue, usually at the core of all of it, is the fraud factor. The fraud factor, the fear of being a fraud or being seen as a fraud. That is usually one of the biggest reasons that holds practitioners back from taking effective action in their business. And when the fraud factor is activated, a lot happens really quickly internally. Number one, we don't trust ourselves. Number two, we don't have full confidence in ourselves. Number three, we don't feel good enough. We don't feel worthy. We start comparing ourselves to others and feel like others are better than us. We maybe don't feel like we're ready to take the action. And then, of course, wrapped into all of that is kind of that paranoid feeling that people are going to realize that we're not good enough and that we're frauds. But that's not all, because when the fraud factor is activated, it also brings up some other fears right behind it often. Number one, the fear of visibility, right? I'm a fraud. Therefore, I don't want you to see me and find out that I suck. If you know all this, that that I'm not good enough, it's going to confirm all of my worst fears about myself, right? So I'm just not going to put myself out there. So there's the fear of visibility that might be going on for you behind that fraud factor. Another fear that's usually right behind the fraud factor is the fear of rejection, right? Because I'm not good enough, you're going to reject me. And then here's a third one that might be rolling around for you. And I see this one more and more often over the last few years. Sometimes because of the fraud factor, there's a deeper fear of being out of integrity, right? I am not good enough. I don't know my stuff well enough. I'm not a good enough practitioner. And therefore, that means I'm out of integrity when I work with clients. And so I'm not going to really put myself out there because I don't want to be out of integrity. All right, so the fraud factor and these fears, the fear of visibility, the fear of rejection, the fear of being out of integrity, that can come out in such sneaky ways. We don't even realize it. We just think, oh, I don't have enough time for that outreach, or oh, it's not the right time to send those emails or to do this visibility action, or whatever it is, right? But really, it's these deeper fears that are going on inside of us. If you're with me, if you know what I'm talking about, let me know in the chat. So overcoming the fraud factor and these other fears right behind it, the fear of rejection, the fear of visibility, the fear of being out of integrity, being able to overcome the fraud factor just allows you to move beyond these other fears as well. It allows you to step into your confidence. And when you step into your confidence, that's when your business shifts into more of a flow state. That's when you're so much more fully able to show up and market effectively, to do outreach, to have empowering enrollment conversations. That's when things start to work so much better. So that begs the question, what's required? What kind of work is required in order to overcome the fraud factor? Well, there's a couple of things. There's some inner work and some outer work when it comes to the fraud factor. Let's talk about the inner work first. In order to really do the inner work around the fraud factor, you want to be willing to look deeply at the fears. You want to get to the origin story of the fraud factor, because I promise you, if you've got the fraud factor going on, this is not new. You've experienced this before in your life, right? So you want to get to the origin story. You want to get to the patterning of it. You want to be able to understand and befriend the fears. And that's a somatic process, right? To befriend those fears with the fraud factor. You want to be able to understand and unpack the resistance archetypes that are behind the fraud factor. Sometimes it's the victim, sometimes it's the judge, sometimes it's the needy one, etc., etc. You want to understand and unpack those resistance archetypes. The other inner work that's required for the fraud factor is to rewire some of the negative beliefs that created the fraud factor. And then you also want to work with your nervous system. Your nervous system is almost always linked to this fear of being a fraud, this fear of visibility, this fear of rejection, this fear of not being in integrity. Um, we can often go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn when those fears come up. So we want to be able to work with our nervous systems around it as well. That's one of the reasons why the fear work, the archetype work, the shadow work is also somatic, right? Because we have to work with it in the body as well. Okay, so those are the inner pieces that you want to work on when you're working on the fraud factor. But there's an outer piece as well that can really, really help you not feel like a fraud. And that is better client work, amazing client results, consistently co-creating transformation in your client work. When your clients are co-creating with your support, amazing results and transformation, your confidence level soars. End of story, right? So we want to do the inner work on the fraud factor to like look at the patterning and the fears, but we also want to improve our client work in order to support us in moving beyond the fraud factor. Both of those things allow us to take more effective action in our businesses, which leads to growing our business and more clients. For those of you that know the Sacred Depths Transformational Practitioner Training, you know that this is what Sacred Depths is all about. I have so many stories from graduates of people who have done the Sacred Depths training, who have tripled their rates, who have been able to fill their private practices, who are taking so much more action in their business, who are getting so many more referrals, who are making themselves more visible. And next week, over 3 days, I'm going to start to dive into all of this in a 3-day retreat. You may have heard about it. It's called The Art of Client Transformation. It's happening at the end of next week. And it's really 3 days of intimate retreat time with me where we'll be going deep, where we'll be doing profound inner work on the fraud factor, as well as learning a lot of skills, tools, foundational principles in order to co-create more transformation with clients. Here's one of the most exciting things about the Art of Client Transformation. Right now, it's only $97. And I would love for you to join me. I'll pop the information in the comments in the chat. The retreat is really for anyone who has the fraud factor and struggles with it. It's for you if you've been holding yourself back from marketing or selling, or marketing or selling effectively. It's for you if you feel like you're doing great client work, but it's not quite the type of life-changing transformational work that you want to be doing with your clients. The Art of Client Transformation is for you if you've been holding yourself back from even working with clients at all because of fear. If you're bored with your client work and you've been wanting to go deeper, Art of Client Transformation is for you. So I will pop the link in the comments below. I would be honored for you to join me. I would love to see you there. If you have any questions, let me know.